So this is the McGill Big 3. This is quite a well-known series of exercises. So we're going to start by trying to find that gap between your lower back and the floor. This is me lying in a semi-supine position, and this, with my legs down, is a supine position, which is better for feeling what your back naturally likes to do. So you're more likely to find your naturally occurring gap there with both legs down. And then when you raise one leg, you want to try and actively maintain exactly the same distance, that same gap between the floor and your lower back, and then raise your head and your shoulders just off the floor. So effectively performing a crunch, but without changing the gap between your lower back and the floor. This is harder to do than it sounds. So just see what you can do there, and then hold it for as long as you can, keep count, and relax, and then repeat. So once again, once you've rested, bringing your head and the top of your shoulders off the floor once again, engaging the abdominal region, really bracing and breathing. Short, shallow breaths are good to try and get you used to breathing whilst under duress. Once you've done one side, you need to do the same on the other side. Once again, still maintaining the same gap between your lower back and the floor, even under duress. Holding that position, bracing, enlivening or innervating all of the musculature that help you to brace and give you support within that abdominal region whilst you're performing any particular movement. Once again, you're going to repeat it after a quick break, keeping count so that you have a rough gauge of how long you can hold this for and at what intensity, so that you can match and or beat that moving forwards. I paused too soon there. Genuinely thought I was going to give up. Okay, that's the first of the McGill Big 3. The second one is coming up. That's right, it's a side plank. So we're doing a shortened, curtailed one here. Now the trick with the side plank is not to lift the hips off the ground, which is interestingly a common mistake. You want to send your hips forwards like you're straightening up from sitting, or squatting up, as it were. And the act of lifting your hips forwards to make a straight line between your shoulders and your knees will lift the hips off the ground anyway. So you can have your hands in various configurations. If your shoulder can handle it, then it's good to be on one arm, and I'm reaching my other arm up to the ceiling to try and give myself a sense of lift. It doesn't necessarily do anything, but it helps me to focus myself in the right place. You'll find what works for you. Coming down, once again, just taking note of how long you can hold it, just like any planky style exercise. And now I'm going to show you some variations. So having the top leg out just allows you to use the inner thighs of the top leg a little bit more, which is good for your pelvic floor, which forms part of your abdominal region, that abdominal cavity. So a good exercise to introduce when you can. It's a little bit harder, but it's worth doing. And then if you feel you can, and I'm playing with different grips here so that you could potentially use two hands, like so, then it's probably a good time to mention it. Use two hands if you find that your underneath shoulder is struggling to support yourself here. Now, you can have a full side plank with both legs outstretched. I prefer to have my top leg forwards. It just allows me to focus on the inner thighs of the top leg, because that's the only leg that will have the muscles of the inner thigh active, and as I mentioned before, they play an important part, component part in what we call your pelvic floor. So doing this on both sides. If you find that your underneath arm is suffering, or if you find that it's a little bit hard, then you can try raising yourself onto a higher surface. You could even use a chair or so on and so forth. I'm using a stability pad here, which is nice and squishy, which actually makes it much more sustainable to be on my elbow. Anything that helps you to stay there for longer is a good thing. Okay, and on to the final of the three, the McGill Big Three. So it's not actually a cat-cow, which I'm currently doing. I'm doing this so that I can find a middle place with my spine. So finding that middle place, a halfway house between being all the way down and all the way up with your spine, you're going to engage the abs, suck the belly button in towards the spine a bit to brace the abs, and brace outwards through the sides as well before you do a bird dog. We're not doing a bird dog necessarily, though. It's an isometric variation, a static variation. Now, you'll notice there I was lifting my leg a bit too high and shaking my head. It's because of what happens to the lower back. The lower back arched a bit more, and we don't want that. We want you to use your bum and squeeze the bum of the leg that's up, but whilst keeping the spine, as we did in the first exercise, in the same position as it was when you started, actively controlling the degree of flexion and or extension of the spine throughout. So I'll do that again, so that you can see on the other side, and watch my lower back. So here, lifting, so it arched a bit more, but then I correct. There we go. Lifting through the shoulder joint, the ball and socket joint of the shoulder, and the ball and socket joint of the hip of the leg, the active leg, the leg that's up, the working leg. Squeezing up, trying to brace, breathing, short, shallow breaths, like so, as with the other exercises, to try and hold that for as long as you can. As you get stronger, as before, then you can match or beat what you did previously. And then we have it, McGill Big Three. I hope that made sense.